The most common option strategy is to sell a call against a stock position. There are two ways this is expressed. One is what I just said, to sell a call, and the other is what's called the buy right strategy. They're really the same thing, except in the buy right strategy, you buy the stock at the same time as you write the call. But that isn't really a significant difference. The same rules apply if, for example, your daddy builds up a big company and he leaves you $1 million worth of stock, and on his deathbed he says to you, "Son, I'm leaving you all this stock, but don't ever sell it." And then you look at your brokerage account and you're sitting there with $1 million worth of stock and it's not paying any dividend, but your daddy said not to sell it, and you're wondering, how am I going to make any money to live on from this $1 million worth of stock? Well, the answer is you sell calls against it. You hope that it's a stock that has calls, but you can sell against it. But if it doesn't have public calls, there are ways actually of creating. There are banks that will create private calls for you. But let's talk about the public calls. And let's take a look at this example, which I've labeled starting position. We have here a stock worth $100 a share at the current market. We pick a price above the stock price. In this case, we took 10%, which is I would say, super conservative position to take 10% over the stock price. How much of a premium you will get at selling a call 10% above the current market price depends on the volatility of the stock. If it's a really volatile stock like Apple, the premiums will be quite high. If it's a real super stable stock, maybe like General Electric has been pretty stable, the premiums are not going to be so high. But in this example, we took one that had a premium at $2. And if we sell 10 calls of the 110 strike price at $2, we take in $2,000. Now, there are two risks when you sell a call or when you buy a stock and write a call against it. One risk is that the stock jumps up more than you think it's going to. In other words, it jumps up more than 10% over the time frame that you've selected, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. The thing is, that's not really a negative risk. If the stock goes up over $110, and it has to be over the 110, your stock will be called away from you. In other words, the buyer of the option will buy the stock from you. That turns out to be a very good thing for you because you bought the stock at $100. The buyer has to pay you $110 for it. So you make right there a $10,000 profit. You also took in $2,000 from the sale of the call, so you have a total of $12,000 over, say, a 90-day period. That turns out to be a very successful strategy. But of course, there's always the risk that the stock will go down. If the stock goes down in price, it also is not that negative a result. Because what's happened is you've collected in $2,000 and you just keep the $2,000. And you can keep writing calls over and over. And by doing that, you can create a nice income for yourself on that $1 million stock